welcome to another episode. Today I'm going to start on the plate for the boomerang hoop, and then that means once this is tacked in I can make the last couple of rear strut supports, and then I can go and do a few more bits, and then the roll cage will be somewhere near. Cage is supporting the rear end of the car and holding it in place. I can go ahead and take out bits of the boot and the spare wheel pan that I don't need. Now that the majority of the roll cage is tacked in the car, it's all tied together and it's strong enough to put on a rollover spit. So that's what I've done. The last couple of nights I've welded up some brackets. I've made use of the main hoop that I bent wrong the first time. So I've just made some custom brackets that go from the engine subframe mount to the spit itself. I've done the same on the back, just 45mm CDS to the rear subframe. It should be level front and back, so I guess now we see if it rolls over. turns over with no stress, so I can go ahead and tighten up all the bolts. Next up is the fun job of taking all the underseal off the underside. The reason for doing this is obviously to put a fresh coat of underseal on, but it's also just to check the condition of the car. I haven't looked too closely underneath at various points, so once all the paint's off I can see exactly where, if there is any rust.
Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I've removed a good portion of the underseal. You can see how much came off the car. It's probably 5 kilos worth of underseal there. I've done the rear arches, most of the underbelly and the front inner arches. Still a fair amount of cleaning up to do under the car, but now the majority is off. It means I can do some welding without setting fire to the underseal, so it's mainly just so I can start more fabrication. As far as rust is concerned, there's only a small amount at the rear of the sills at the back. Also there's slight rust at the top of the outer rear arches. Now that can be addressed quite easily, so overall the car's in pretty good condition. Now that most of the cleanup's done, I can focus on the fabrication on the rear of the car. Things to focus on are the rear mount radiator. Obviously the front of the Peugeot is a lot shorter than the Subaru, so I'm going to need to put the radiator in the boot. Other things to consider are the spare wheel. Obviously the position where the wheel was before will actually come quite far back, so I'm going to have to modify it to fit the spare wheel in as well as the radiator. To add even more complication, obviously the position for the exhaust of the Impreza is going to be different now because we've lost a lot of the room at the back, so it's going to be pushed in. I'm most likely going to have a sideways exhaust, so the muffler will be side on rather than longitudinal.